So this week on Fairy Tail, we have another recap that takes 7 minutes. Oh, when the recaps are getting longer than One Piece recaps, that's not a good sign. Oh shit, that's not a good sign. Oh man, okay, so I know I'm a little bit later than usual when it comes to this review of Fairy Tail, because usually I get it up around like 2 hours to 1 hour after it, comes out the episode, but I decided to take a nap to get ready for a day. I wanted to be fully refreshed for today's episode of Fate, Seraph at the End, Plastic Memories, so forth, so on. So, I decided to get some rest and wait till I woke up early morning to review this episode of Fairy Tail. I, however, did not expect to see the infamous Afro Happy scene this week. I didn't expect to see that, not this week. So, let's get this out of the way before I talk about the other segments of this episode. So, the Afro Happy scene is very controversial when it comes to this arc. Out of all the things that happen in this arc, as I've said for the past couple episodes, this is one of the best arcs of Fairy Tail. Now, of course, nothing is perfect, pretty much. Everything has issues. Out of all the things in this arc, personally to me, I think Afro Happy is the only really bad part of this arc, besides one thing that happens towards the end of the arc. But besides that, everything else is pretty damn good. So, I'm just letting you know right now, don't expect more stuff like this besides one more thing later off down the road in the arc. But the Afro Happy scene is very controversial because the way it was done, it felt very forced, but also way too fast. Because I remember when I read this, like, in the manga when it first came out, Afro Happy, like, Happy just ran up, exploded, and then he was back down on the ground in the same exact chapter. Like, if it would have been built up for, like, over an episode or two, let's say Happy was going on for, like, 2 to 3 episodes, it would have felt a little bit better. Like, it had more of an impact. But Happy just coming back right after it explodes didn't feel like it was right. It just didn't. Like, it just Happy flies into the air, tanks a fucking explosion, and he's like, I just got an afro. Of course, it's very controversial for many, obviously. I mean, there's going to be a lot of hate to this episode, I know for a fact there is, but I'm pretty much done with this, like, scene. Like, I've gotten over it. It's been a long time since I've actually read this part of the manga. It doesn't make me as mad as it used to, but I know for a fact anime-onlys are probably going to be a little bit upset when it comes to this Afro Happy scene of Fairy Tail. So anyways, let's get into the other great segments of this episode. So there's a lot of different little pieces of setup going on through this episode. Even though we got like 13 minutes of content, we still had some good content in what was done in this episode. For one thing, Lizana and Elfman are having their own little issues. For instance, you see it to where Elfman is starting to strangle his sister by the fucking throat. And that's not good. That's not good. So, obviously, this demon that they're currently facing can control bodies. Like, can control people's bodies. Because we saw this dead dude, one of the dead council members, just get up and then destroy the communication device and then just fall back to the ground. So obviously this demon girl can control people's bodies, which is very bad. That's very fucking bad. That's actually OP as fuck. Because imagine if you got someone like Natsu control his body, he'd wreck everything. So it's just this episode of Fairy Tail that goes to show us that some of these members of Tartarus are pretty OP when it comes to some of their abilities, but at the moment, if we actually take a good look at this arc, we already have 2 Tartarus members that have already fallen. I mean, Jackal and Tempest, and those 2 are already pretty much gone. Now, as we know, Laxus, he defeated Tempest, and Jackal got defeated by Natsu in this episode. So, what that goes to show us is that Tartarus, they're strong, and it doesn't seem like they're that strong. Even though they're suiciding, we do know that they can be brought back. As we saw a couple episodes back, we had to where Kyoka could actually bring them back. So, it doesn't seem like they're permanently dead, and that could mean that this dude like Jackal could constantly kill himself and explode. Like, he can just suicide bomb every place and location he wants and then just get reborn again. So there's a lot of devastating potential right here if Tartarus uses it into a proper fashion, because even though Natsu defeated Jackal and, Laxus defeated Tempest, it doesn't mean they're actually gone. So they have multiple lives. This is like an RPG or a game for them. So, moving past that, thing you have to really look at in this episode is Jackal's transformation. That's something I want to point out. Before Afro Happy pops up in this episode, Jackal transforms. Jackal transforms into a different beast. Like, he looks like he goes straight up fucking demon mode. So, what you can really get from this scene of the episode, what majority of us should be able to understand, is that if Jackal can do something like that, where he transforms into, like, a demonic-looking beast mode, we can assume that each individual demon of Tartarus can probably do the exact same. If he can do that too, we could possibly kind of, I guess, assume that other demons could do the exact same thing. So there's a different mode to their power. But honestly, we didn't really get to see what type of power Jackal had. I mean, that was different from his base mode. So we don't really know what made him stronger in that mode besides him being a little bit bigger and a little bit of a bigger target. So we don't know. And then we come to find out the end game of the villains of this arc. They're trying to stop Face. Like, they're trying to get rid of all the council members that can summon Face to stop them. Or actually, what you can really get from this is that they're trying to control Face. Because they're hunting down the council members, destroying all the council members, and they're making it to where Face can fall into their hands. And if we actually point and pinpoint the dots between each other, as we found out, Tartarus' demons, they don't use magic, they use curses. And so, if all the magic of the continent was to go away, for instance, if Face was activated, that would mean that Tartarus could still use their magic, while wizards couldn't. So, you get to see the problem and the issue that lies here. So, we kind of found out the end game of the Tartarus Guild. They kind of want to use Face, and they want to control Face, and they're killing off the council members to stop them from using it. And yeah, that's where the main in-game goal of this arc leads into. The big question is where is the other council members? Can they save them in time? What is going to happen? I mean, a lot of questions right now. Big question you also have to wonder is, how did Tartarus get the information? See, as we see in this episode, like, the little cat council member, he's very secretive. Like, he doesn't want to say shit, and he's like, we can't tell anyone, you know, he's shaking in his boots. And you'd have to wonder, for this classified information to be this fucking important, how does Tartarus know? How do they know? Big question. Like, how do they know about Face if it's that classified as information? So, that's about it when it comes to this episode of Fairy Tail. Nothing can be done. I mean, a 7-minute recap, 13 minutes of content. Yeah. So, tell me your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or not, wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.